I think this is one of my favourite things about mountain biking. Getting your €1,500 fork, whack it with a screwdriver and a hammer. Can't believe how much better it is. Actually rideable. It's like a mountain bike that'll do mountain biking and go around corners and stuff. Amazing. Welcome back. Part 3 out of 3 of the Radon Render review. We've gone through all the teething problems in the first video. We've gone through the riding problems and suspension issues in the second video. Since then, the bike's been fully stripped down, rebuilt. The suspension's been to the Unicorn factory in Tuscany and back. There's a major issue with the fork, which has been solved, and the fork's been tuned, shock's been tuned. Everything's back together. I'm not going to go through all the problems. You can go to the first 2 videos to see those. But we are going to give you a quick run through of all the things we've now fixed. So some people say I'm too critical of these products, but it's a £6,000 consumer item from a direct sales brand. It should turn up, ready to go, no problems. It should be safe, easy to set up. There should be a nice setup guide to tell you where to start from your tyre pressures to your suspension pressures. This bike came with nothing. Yeah, some people think I'm too critical, but this is probably the 3rd most expensive thing anyone's going to buy in their life after a house, car, £6,000 bike. Big purchase, it should be spot on. So we have to be critical because we need better performing, safer, more reliable, cheaper bikes for everyone in the future. That is the goal of this channel. Number 1, bled the brakes properly. We ordered a Magura Pro bleed kit from Bike24. I think it was €38. Now we've bled the brakes properly. These turned up from the factory, not bled properly at all. Now, perfect bleed. Some next level tuning, getting the brakes to work properly, done. The next thing we did, as explained in the previous video, we changed the rear rotor from a 203 to a 180, removed the brake mount adapter, and now the caliper is bolted directly to the frame as it should be. The next thing we did was remove the useless Magura Matchmaker clamp, which I just couldn't get anywhere in the right position so I could actually change gear. Swap that out for a normal separate clamp. Now we can adjust the position of the gear shifter and actually change gear, which is nice. On a similar note, this Magura clamp also cracked, maybe because it's made out of plastic. So I've ordered a new one of those, which should arrive any day, and we can replace that with the alloy version, and hopefully our brake lever won't snap off when we're riding. The next thing we did was move the Bosch e-bike computer from this area, where I kept knocking it off with my knee, where you could easily lose it, and we've moved it to the top tube. We used some glue here to make a mount. Not the ideal solution, but this is where I think it should be. And a lot of new e-bikes, including the new Uno, have the computer on the top tube or recessed into the top tube. Here, keeps getting knocked off. Here, safe. So yeah, we've done the best we can here. It's obviously not the perfect scenario. If we had a 3D printer, maybe we could have made a mount. We use glue. It's in a better position. It's not ideal, but it makes the point. And at the same time, Matt has cleverly added this fishing line leash. So if we do knock the computer off, hopefully it won't fly off down the side of a mountain and leave you with hours of walking home. Because once this comes off, the bike doesn't work at all. The second bit of glue tuning we've done is we moved this remote from the handlebar to here. This remote changes the power level of the e-bike motor. Unlike the shifter and the dropper post lever, which you use in all the time during a ride, this thing, I use it once or twice maximum per ride, often not at all. Stick it in eMTB mode, go riding, done. So it doesn't need to be on the top here where it could get broken or adds clutter, more cables to organise. Yeah, we moved it to here. Again, homemade solution, not perfect, but makes the point that I prefer it to be here. The next thing we did should have been really simple, replacing a broken spoke, but this DT Swiss hub, so badly designed. I thought one of the benefits of a straight pull hub was you could slide the spoke in and out without removing the cassette or the disc. This one, you tried to slide the spoke out and the spoke we needed to change just hits other spokes. Terrible design. So Matthias had to remove the cassette, the disc, and loosen and move 2 of the spokes just to replace the spoke. So it's worse and more difficult to work on than J-bend. I don't know how this happens. How does this keep happening? And then at the same time, we've sorted out the tyres. So this is a front tyre, used front tyre. The other one had done 1600 Ks, ready for the bin. So a newer tyre on the rear. This is a Super Trail casing, but we also put in a Mr. Wolf Comdom. We did have to rehome the shrew who was living in there previously. Hopefully he's enjoying his new house in the farm somewhere. But the Comdom is a foam insert with an inner tube inside. So you put the insert in and then you can inflate the tube to adjust the foam density and to make it fit. Not tried one of those before, but very interested to test it out. We also put a full-on downhill casing Michelin DH22 on the front. Super solid casing, super sticky rubber, grippy tread pattern. Both of these things were done to improve the grip and the stability. These Super Trail tyres, and all lightweight tyres, the lighter your tyre gets, the less stable it gets. So this is normally a section where, whoa, the flexi tyres and bar and lack of damping makes like the trialsy setup stuff like this really difficult. I just nailed it first time, no dabs. So heavier, grippier, better tyres in my opinion. And it's an e-bike, so the added weight doesn't matter, not bothered. The next job we did, and when I say we, every single time, I mean Matthias the mechanic, he's been killing it. We wired this door on, and this is the door for the charging port, and before, every time we opened it, it would just fly off. So Matt's added a little bit of garden wire here, stop it falling off. Great, solved. So the next thing we did was try to improve the waterproofing on this guard. So Matt's actually put a bead of silicone all the way around this to try and stop the water coming in. At the same time, we put a marsh guard on because we think most of the water is spraying up off the tyre into this area and then flowing down this guard. So this should help it. Also at the same time, we realised that this clip wasn't adjusted properly and the battery was never actually fully clipped in to the battery mount. So we had to take all the battery mounts out, adjust it down slightly, and then put the battery back in so it would clip properly. And hopefully this is going to reduce one of the noises that the bike was also making. So that's on, that's solid. This is waterproofed. We possibly could have used a different kind of mud guard. So I think most of the water is going to be flying this way and maybe past the marsh guard. But the marsh guard was orange and we did have orange zip ties, and obviously colour coordination is the #1 aspect of performance. So yeah, happy with that. Next thing we did was change the original handlebar for this really ugly 60mm rise spank bar. This was for 2 reasons. One, I think the handlebar height before was too low for an extra large and for me, and we couldn't get it any higher. So taller bar, higher front end. Also, before the stem was right at the top of the steerer tube and it was really flexy. You could feel the flex when you're riding or doing trials moves. You can even see it in the garage flexing around loads. So essentially we slammed the stem all the way to the bottom, but we still got the same bar height. So we should have stiffer crown steerer interface, higher bar, and we've still got 20mm to play with if we want to try even higher. Next thing was a Worx Components angle headset. Good thing about the Radon Render, it's got a straight ZS56 big head tube, not tapered. So we could put a 0 stack -2 degree headset. On paper, the Radon Render, 65 degrees, feels much steeper when you're riding due to the entire package. But now 2 degrees out the head angle, this is going to move the front axle 5-6 centimeters forwards. Should be more stable, steer better, all those good things. We did have a problem this morning trying to fit the angle set because the previous crown race from the Acros knock block headset is so tight on there we can't get it off, and we don't have the 300 quid Park Tool crown race remover. I think this is one of my favourite things about mountain biking, is getting your €1,500 fork, which didn't work right in the first place. Then, because the headset doesn't work properly and the head angle's too steep, buy a new headset, and then to make it work, whack it with a screwdriver and a hammer. That's why mountain biking is so much fun. You don't have the crown race remover from Park Tool to just pop this off easily? No. That massive tool, you're not carrying that around with you in your travel toolkit from Brazil. Why would you ever make this so hard to remove? Luckily this part's super lightweight and hollow, which is the perfect thing to smack with a hammer and screwdriver. So couldn't get the crown race off, and now we've just put the Worx one straight over the top. Ironically, we couldn't get this one off, but the other part, the Acros block headset, would move in the frame. So maybe the tolerances are wrong, but yeah, one's bonded on and can't remove it. The other one moves inside the frame. Mamma mia. The major job we did on this bike was get the suspension tuned. So it's just come back from the Unicorn factory in Tuscany, which is a great name. Major problem with the fork, too much grease in the air spring. We're going to explain all the suspension later on. But too much grease in the air spring, not working properly. We changed the Fit 4 to a Grip 2 damper, which has also been custom tuned, and Tyrone has fully serviced the fork. I think he's done sized the bushings, upgraded damper, tuned the damper, fixed the air spring problem. Should be a really good fork now. Rear shock, couldn't do much with that without spending a lot of money, and it got to the point Tyrone said you just need a new shock if you want to get the performance you want from it. But the oil was really badly emulsified when the air and the oil mix, which causes you massive damping problems. So the shock's just been tuned, and the volume spacer has been upgraded from the smallest 0.2 to 0.6 cubic inches, I think. What a strange measurement on a metric shock. But yeah, so now the suspension should be sweet, or at least a lot better than it was before. Final thing we need to do is sort out this service due light, which has been coming on for ages. We've got to take the bike to a Bosch dealer. Don't know why it's coming on, but there must be some issue somewhere with the software. But it doesn't seem to affect the riding performance at all. So yeah, get that fixed, see if there's any error codes, and yeah, the bike should be perfect. Just one final finishing touch. This lovely sticker that came in the box from the Unicorn factory, which I think sums up the bike in total so far. Next, we're going to go to the trails, ride it, and see if this has made any improvement at all the time. Expense. We spent over £1,000 on this bike easily, and a lot of time. So hopefully, get it on the trail. It's going to be fun and going to be rideable, and we're going to enjoy it. 3, 2, 1. So much better though. Oh my God. Bloody good bike. What a difference. Can't believe I've had this bike in the garage for over 18 months now. Never really had fun in those 2 runs. I'm actually having fun, first time ever. It's unbelievable the difference you can make when you get it set up properly. Literally one of the worst bikes I've ever had to now a perfectly good bike. Yeah, it's not a common sal or an orange like the boys in the garage, but very good overall. Bloody good bike. What a difference. Catch the final episode of the Radon Render review for more riding and more analysis of the tuned bike, which is finally good enough to give away to one lucky Aston MTB ticket holder.